welcome to the first of our practices on the chakras. This first chakra is located at the very base of the spine, so in the pubic area really, and it's called Muladhara Chakra. And Mula means root, and Dhara means foundation. So the name is very symbolic of its meaning. It's all about being really grounded and rooted and stable, not just physically but mentally. It's all about activating our basic fundamental energies and forces within us. So it's very primal, and it's sort of the idea is that for us to grow and change, we need to feel safe. Everyone needs to feel safe, and everyone needs to feel stable. It's a little bit like a plant or a tree. You know, you're putting down your roots to give you that strong foundation, to provide you with the nourishment for you to grow and evolve and sort of eventually expand open in at every level. And because of its analogy with being grounded and stable, we're going to do a practice that is very earthy, very grounding, lots of hip opening, and hips create that sense of the movement of energy downwards. And for this chakra, that is the movement of energy. So you're looking at, it's called Apana, this movement of energy, and it moves downwards. So you're trying to stay low to the ground. And the colour for this chakra, it's a 4-petaled lotus flower, is red. And it's got a yellow square in the middle which symbolises the earth. And it's also got a triangle pointing downwards in the centre, and that is symbolic of you drawing your energy down to be rooted through that pointed part of the triangle at the bottom, but then the wider part of the triangle at the top of the image is symbolic of you expanding and growing and evolving. Okay, so enough talk about that. So you're going to begin in child's pose, coming towards the back of your mat. So you're going to take your knees nice and wide, have your big toes touching, and then let your forehead come down to the floor. So with it being a beginner level practice, if you want to put your blanket between your legs, or you want to put a brick underneath your head, you can do that. And you're just going to start to allow yourself to be really, really heavy. Have a sense of as though you've got lead in your hips and everything's descending down. And then I'm going to ask you to bring your thumbs and your ring fingers to touch. Just turn your palms to face slightly up. And this is a mudra for the earth. This is called Prithivi Mudra. And it activates that primal force of energy, that elemental force of energy within us that resides right at the base of the spine. So as you allow yourself to get more and more relaxed into this shape, to let yourself sink down as though you're sinking into the foundations of the earth beneath you. And you're also drawing up the energy from the earth that's going to nourish you, that's going to give you support for your practice. Start to listen to your breath, and let the sound of your breath remove any distractions around you. And you can pause the video and spend as long as you need to spend here. And then when you're ready, you're going to reach your arms out Get your palms connected to the earth, so continuing in each pose to really feel your foundation. And then from here, you're going to inhale, come up. Just bring your knees a little bit more so they're hip width apart. And then inhale, you're going to lift your sit bones, lift the base of your spine, lift your chest. And then as you exhale, you're just going to sink back down into your child's pose. Inhale, come back, arcing through your spine. Exhale, little rounding, sinking back down. 2 more. Inhale, coming forwards. And exhale, rounding back. And then from here, you're going to slither forwards all the way down onto your belly. Inhale, little cobra, and then as you exhale, back to your child's pose. So again, staying nice and close to the earth. So you're going to inhale, slither your way forwards, little cobra at the end, exhale. And you'll be surprised how much upper body strength you need to bring yourself into your cobra. It's as though you're trying to bring your nose all the way along your mat. Inhale. And exhale back. One more. Inhale. And exhale back. And then last one, you're going to slither your way all the way down to the floor. Just move all these things out of the way. And then reach your arms out in front, join your palms for a full body prostration. Maybe just swinging your hips, swaying your hips a little bit from side to side. And then just moving a little bit over towards the left side of your mat. You're going to bring your right knee up and come onto your forearm. So keep dropping that right knee, well not the right knee, sorry, the hip down towards the floor, opening up the hip but staying really nice and low to the ground. Take another breath here. And then from here, you're going to sweep your left arm under your right, shift your hips a little bit over to the left and roll into a twist. So again, close to the floor, hip opening again, dropping this right shoulder down towards the floor. So if you need to bring a brick underneath this knee or to hold it in this right hand to support you in this shape, you can do that. And then just move this brick so you can see. You're going to roll all the way onto your back and you're going to draw your right knee in towards your armpit. And if you need to, you can bend your left knee for this one. And then either hold behind your thigh or your shin or the outside edge of your foot. And you're going to draw this right knee down towards the floor. So you can explore what happens when you straighten that left leg, but what can often happen if there's any tightness there is your lower back's going to arch away from the floor. It's going to change, or this leg's going to want to straighten. It's going to change the dynamic or the alignment of the pose. So you can keep this knee bent, drop it out to the side. But you're just going to keep drawing this right knee down. So there's a little bit of pressure down with your hand, there's a little bit of pressure up through your foot. And then from here, bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Hands by your sides, and you're just going to drop your knees from side to side. A little bit of core engagement. So as you come back, you're going to press your lower back down towards the floor. Pulling back. And then just pausing here, just gently pressing that right leg away from you and dropping your right hip down towards the floor. So again, if you need to, you can put a brick underneath this right foot. One more breath here. And then from here, you're going to press your lower back into the floor to come up. Shift this left foot across to the left, and you're going to come all the way over to the other side. And if this is too much, you can take this right foot off your thigh. But you're trying to pull your legs forwards. Your lower back is not going to be on the floor. If you want to reach your arms over the crown of your head, you can get a really nice side body stretch as well. Maybe even holding this left wrist with your right hand. Big breath in. And as you exhale, press your lower back into the floor. You're going to keep your figure 4 shape and either stay here or, again, you can use your brick. Lots of ways you can use your brick in this practice to put underneath this left foot, and that's going to just give you more stretch in the hips. If you don't need that, you can pick your left leg up, thread your arms through, and either hold the back of your thigh or for some of you maybe even the front of your shin. And you're going to flex your right foot and squeeze your right knee, so then you know your knee is nice and safe. And then as your left leg comes closer, your right knee actually moves further away. So that's how you're going to keep your hips square. You're going to keep equal weight moving down through the back of your pelvis on each side. And then from here, release. And you're going to open your legs out into a straddle. So I'm just going to move, touch over to here. A big breath in. And then from here, interlace your fingers. Reach your index fingers out. And then as you exhale, press your lower back into the floor. Pull your ribs and your pelvic points towards one another. Inhale again, lift your head and shoulders. Reach your arms through. So you're going to do little pulses with your exhale. Doesn't matter if you need a gentle bend in your knees in this shape. For 5, 4, so you don't need to think about the inhale, just focus on your exhale. The inhale will happen quite naturally. And then lower your head and shoulders back down, bring your legs up, and then from here, push your lower back into the floor. And if this bothers your lower back, once you've had a little go, you can rock side to side and bring your hands underneath your hips, and that's going to support your lower back a little bit. And then palms down, push your lower back into the floor. You're going to slowly start to lower your legs down, and then when you get to the point where your lower back isn't going to stay on the floor, you're going to stop there, wherever that is for you. And then you can do little cross overs. Little crossovers. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing your legs back up. Sliding your feet back down onto the floor, and then use that. You're going to roll back onto your belly. Okay? And then again, reach your hands forwards. Little sway with your hips. Just get the front of your body grounded again. Let your belly soften now. And then from here, you're going to come onto your forearms again. You're going to bring this left knee up. Really drop the inner portion of this left thigh and hip down towards the floor. So you're trying to get really grounded. I think you've got the idea about the groundedness, but so the emphasis is on translating that stability and groundedness that we gain in the practice in our physical body, so that we can not just grow physically. If you're an adult, you've already grown, but so that we can grow mentally, and that we've got that stability and that strength and that rootedness, so that that personal growth can happen. And then from here, you're going to thread your right arm through and shift yourself over to the right a little bit and roll to the left. So again, you can slide something underneath this knee, and you're reaching your left arm out to the left. Just enjoy this twist for a few breaths. And then you're going to roll all the way onto your back. And you're going to draw your left knee in towards your chest. Move your knee out towards your armpit. And then hold the back of the knee. And take the sole of your foot to face up. So I can get hold of my foot, but don't worry. Take one of those other options if you're not able to get hold of the foot. Bend your right knee if you need to bend that knee. And then a little bit of pressure down through the foot. Pushing up into your hand, so you create some heat in this hip and you get some opening in the hip as well. And then you can slide your right foot back in if it's not already. Bring your left ankle on top of your right foot, arms by your sides and dropping side to side. And then the next time your legs drop over to the right, you're going to let this sole of your left foot rest on the floor or on a brick. You can move this, adjust the position of this left leg so you feel the stretch and the sensation of opening here. Let your thigh bone drop down. And then big breath in. And as you exhale, push your lower back into the floor. Just step this right foot across to the right a bit more, and then both knees drop to the left. And then you can reach your arms over the crown of your head again. Maybe hold your right wrist with your left hand. Little gentle tug. Keeping that connection all the time. Nourishing yourself, stabilizing yourself, rooting yourself down into the earth. And then big breath in and exhale. Come back. So you can put your brick underneath your right foot, or you can pick that foot up, hold onto the back of your thigh. Maybe for some of you, reaching through for the front of your shin, and pressing that left knee away from you, flexing your left foot. And then slowly release. Open your legs back out into the straddle. Interlace your fingers, big breath in. As you exhale, you're going to reach and reach, reach, reach. So think about lifting with your chest. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down and then bring your legs together. And again, pushing your lower back into the floor. Keep that engagement. Make your legs nice and rigid. So it's a lot easier to lift something that's rigid than it is that's something that's floppy. And then again, little crossovers. 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bring your legs up. Hug your knees into your chest. And then either rock to the side or rock yourself up to a seat. And then you're going to come onto all fours. So if you've ended up facing the other end of your mat, I'll show you. You're just going to bring yourself back to the front. That's what happens when you do a lot of work on your back. So have your brick nearby, or your blanket, or both. And then from this position, you're going to step your right foot forwards. And then ease your left knee back. Have your brick here. Walk your right foot over to the right a little bit. So a nice lizard pose. So you can stay up on your hands if you need that height, you know, depending on your hip opening. Or you can bring your elbows down onto your brick. You can stack some bricks up. You can, you know, make a higher level prop. And you can have your foot slightly turned out at an angle like I have, or you can bring your foot more parallel with the long edge of your mat. This is much more challenging for me to have my foot parallel, which is, you know, really, I should be doing that one. That's the thing about when you start to dive into the body and find out what's going on. Often the things that we don't really like doing are the things that our body really needs us to do. It's very tempting to just carry on doing the things that we find easy. And then maybe over time you can come a little bit lower. You can always use the brick underneath anyway. And then I'm going to come down onto this left forearm. You can have the brick underneath your forearm. I'm going to turn my toes out a little bit now, and I'm just going to do a little sway from side to side. So it's that sense of not, you know, losing that connection to the earth through your mat. Good. And then from here, you're going to come back up and slide that right foot back and bring your left foot forwards. So again, same thing, same setup on this side. Walking this right knee back, turning your left foot out or having your foot parallel, and then kind of exploring whether you can come low enough to get your elbows on a brick. And if that's not going to happen, then just keep walking your hands forwards and bending your elbows, and you'll be able to tell when you're ready to be able to come a little bit deeper. And I didn't say this on the other side, apologies. You're going to see if you can keep drawing your heart forward. So rather than being tempted to start to round your spine and look back at this back foot, can you push your elbows into your prop or your hands into the floor and draw your chest forwards? So you're unraveling any tension in the front of your hip here, dropping that hip down towards the floor, rolling this left hip back. So you just kind of keep squaring off your hips. And then you can keep the brick underneath your forearm, or you can be on your hand while you do these little sways, or you can come down onto your forearm, just turn your toes out slightly so that you can just get a little bit more movement, but check that your knee tracks out at the same angle as your big toe. And that's going to be important in a moment when we come to our standing poses. And then from here, press yourself up, bring this left foot back or left knee back, and from here you're going to come on to, so you might need your brick, you're going to come on into downward facing dog. So walk your hands a little bit further forwards, spread your fingers out, third knuckles down, really get the weight moving forwards so there's not too much weight into your wrists. Hug your arms in towards the midline and then curl your toes under, pick up your knees. And then from here, you're going to start to push your hands forwards and lift your hips up. So keep pushing through your hands, lifting your hips up. Maybe you can straighten your legs, but it's about the length in your torso. And then maybe you can drop your heels a little bit closer to the floor. And if you want to do maybe a few little sways of your hips side to side, so Just keep that hip opening going. Keep the really solid base through your hands. And then from here, you're going to tiptoe your hands and feet to meet each other in the front of your mat. And then bring your hands to your shins and lift your chest. Straight legs. Push your hands and your legs into one another. And then as you exhale, bend your knees and fold. And then push down into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, join your palms and come back. So I'm going to ask you to step yourself into a nice wide straddle, and then just make sure you're facing me, and you're going to turn your left foot in slightly and stay the same way as you. So your left foot in slightly and your right foot pointing straight towards either the front or back of your mat. And then keep your left leg really strong as you start to bend your right knee. Okay. So from here, we're going to come into Warrior 2, which is, as you can see, is a hip opening pose. Trying to keep your torso as much in the centre of the shape as you can. So make sure you can still see your big toe on this right leg. Maybe drop your left leg a little bit so you're in your Warrior 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to move from Warrior 2. You're going to turn this left foot so it's more pointing forwards. This will be your inhale in your Warrior 2. And as you exhale, you're going to bend this left knee, pick up your right toes and just squat down. Doesn't need to be, you don't need to come down that far. As long as you can feel it. Inhale back to your Warrior 2. Exhale back down. Inhale back to your Warrior 2. Exhale. So this is like a modified Skandasana, this second movement, which is a really lovely hip opener. Just one more. And back. And then come back to your Warrior 2. Straighten your right leg, pick up your right toes, spin your right toes so that they face in a little bit, and then your left foot can face the front or the back of your mat. Get your heel to arch alignment, and then again find your depth. So you're going to adjust your foot, this left foot, so that you find the depth of your Warrior 2. And then just pause there and really feel your foundation. So you're pushing down through your feet and feeling that energy, that earth energy, rebounding up to lengthen through the sides of your waist, and then you're relaxing your shoulders. Just turn this back foot, this right foot, so that it's a little bit more facing forwards. So this will be your inhale, and as you exhale, bring your palms together, and you're just going to go as low as it's okay for you in this back leg. Inhale, back to your Warrior 2, and exhale, back into your Skandasana. Inhale, Warrior 2, exhale, Skandasana. Good. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, come back to Warrior 2. Exhale, straighten this left leg. Pick up, bricks in the way. Pick up your toes and bring them back. So here we're going to stay in this wide leg forward stance. So it's like when you're lying down on your back. It's not core work, but you've got this stance and your feet are facing straight forwards. And then from here you're going to inhale, really push down through your feet. And as you exhale, hinge from your hips. And bring your fingertips to the floor. So if your fingertips don't reach the floor, then you can use a brick or even a brick underneath each hand. Okay. So from here, you're going to turn your feet out ever so slightly, and we're going to go back to that Skandasana movement. So you can have your brick, and you're just going to bend one knee, and then the other leg straightens, and then you're shifting from side to side. So you can pick up onto the heel, or you can keep the foot down. When you keep the foot down, it stretches the front of your leg. more. And if that's going okay, maybe you can, if you've got your hands to the floor, then you can shift side to side, and as you land, really sink down. But keeping the knee that you're bending, keeping that foot on the floor. So you're not letting the heel pick up, which is what it wants to do. The heel's going to stay down on both feet. Okay, just one more. And then you're going to heel toe. So get your brick. Heel toe your feet so that they're about hip width apart. So from here, I'm going to show you, we're going to come into Mūlādhāra, which is one of the yogic squats, and your feet will be turned down, and this is what it looks like. So you're coming down to this position. Now for a lot of people, beginner level, that is not gonna, your heels are gonna want to lift up off the floor. So if you take your blanket and underneath your heels, it's going to make it a lot more accessible. You don't want to take the height too much under your heels, because then you're going to topple forwards as you stand up. You just want enough so that this is doable, okay? And then from here, you're going to push into your feet, inhale, reach your arms up, and then exhale all the way back down. Okay, I'm just going to do a few of those. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, all the way back down. Good. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And just pause here, just for a moment. You're pressing your elbows into your inner knees, and your tailbone is moving down, and your chest is lifting up. And then, there is another option. I know it's a little bit late, but you can watch the video again. If neither of those work, you can actually take your brick and sit on your brick. Yeah? So the movement would then, you'd be coming up to stand and coming back down, and just be careful. Obviously, you want to make sure you get your bottom on your brick as you come back down. So I'm going to come back down now to sit. And we're just going to do some forward folds. So again, stay nice and close to the floor. So you're going to cross your ankles. It doesn't matter which way you cross, but can you just note which one leg you've got in front, okay? And you can either cross at your ankles, or you can cross at your shins, so then your feet come further apart. And if you need to have something underneath each knee, like a cushion or something underneath each knee, to let your legs relax, you can do that. And then your fingertips, find your sit bones, so tip your pelvis forward. You can also have something underneath your hips to kind of tip your pelvis forward. Lift your chest, get nice and long through your spine, and then as you exhale, you're going to tip. So what I want you to feel for is the very base of your spine, around your sit bones, where this chakra is, to stay really rooted, like you're anchoring your hips down and staying nice and rooted down. So again, you could come forwards and bring your elbows onto a brick. If you can get your elbows to the floor, you're going to bring your elbows to the floor. Or you can keep your hands by your sides if you're more upright in your pose. We're just going to fold forwards and start to feel your breath. So you can have your palms joined, that's one mudra, or you can go back to your Prathivi mudra and bring your thumbs and your ring fingers to touch. And really stay connected. I'm going to bring this underneath my head. So you want to be relaxed, but you're continuing. There's still a lot of internal engagement. So I'm continuing to anchor my hips down. I'm gently squeezing my knees. I'm gently flexing my toes so my legs are active. And then I'm using a little bit of core strength to draw myself down towards the floor. I'm thinking about lengthening the crown of my head forwards so the tailbone and crown are moving away from one another. But start to drop back into your breath more now that you can think about it more, and really let your breath ground you on the exhale. And then this is one of the poses that you can pause and take a little bit longer in. And when you're ready, you're going to slowly come back up, and you're just going to switch the cross of your ankles or your shins, and then fold back down again. One side's going to feel probably different to the other. Keep the same key actions: hips grounded, rooted, sit bones rooted, spine lengthening, breath deep and slow, and grounding. And then again, slowly climbing your way back up, whatever your depth was. And then you're going to stretch your legs out. Have your legs a little bit separated. Maybe have a stack of props here. And then fingertips down, lengthen through your spine. Engage your legs by drawing your toes towards you, and then folding forwards. And you can rest your elbows on your bricks, or maybe you can get your forehead to come to your bricks. Last few breaths in your practice before Shavasana. Maybe using the mudra again. The mudras will not just stimulate that Mūlādhāra energy, but they just shift the way that the energy moves around your subtle body. Feel the earth on your exhale, really dropping, letting your legs get heavier, the backs of your legs, your hips get heavier. And maybe you can drop a little bit deeper into it. But don't be discouraged by what my pose looks like or what anybody else's pose looks like. You might be practically upright, but if you allow your body to integrate each different stage of the pose, so fingertips behind, keeping the legs long, just gradually starting to let your spine lengthen. Once your legs have lengthened, then you're gradually going to be able to come deeper, and you're going to be able to bring your hands more forwards. So it's a journey, it's a process. And then slowly come up, and then you're going to roll all the way down onto your back. So when we've done a deep forward fold like that, sometimes you can feel the residue of that in your lower back. So if you want to, in fact this is a nice way to finish, just reaching your hands and feet away from one another. Big breath in, and then as you exhale, re-ground your sacrum down as you draw your knees in. Inhale. Arms and legs reach away from one another. Exhale. And back in. One more. Inhale. In fact, no, let's just stay. And then you can just open your arms out, let your legs fall out. And as we usually do in our practices, you can pause your video, take as long as you can in your Shavasana so that you get yourself really relaxed and give yourself permission to be still and to be quiet and to let all of this inner healing happen. And then when you're ready, you're going to draw your knees in, you're going to roll to the side, maybe pause there for a few breaths, and then press yourself up to a ceiling. So, once again, thank you so much for sharing that practice with me. I hope that you can begin to get a sense of when you need to draw your energy down, when you need to do that kind of practice, is when you've had like the sort of day or experience where all your energies have been going up, everything's happening in your head, you're feeling overwhelmed, everything, like your mind's racing, and that's the kind of practice that will really draw that energy down and really calm you down and get you nice and grounded and get you to feel safe and stable again, ready for your next experience and adventure. So I shall see you on the next video. Namaste.